And you will know my name is alone. And I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Groovy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Box Office Pulp, your one podcast stop for movies, madness, moxie, and tonight, Mike's chilling descent into eternal madness. That's right, we have another Tales from the BOP episode for you, this time focusing on the Snowman. I'm Cody, and joining me to hear Mike's tale of woe is Jamie.
I'm so glad I didn't have to watch this movie.
Same here. Same here. The same, unfortunately, cannot be said for Mike, who, you watched this twice?
I am in a snowy, snowy hell right now.
Sucks.
I was so excited for the Snowman. I was so excited. It's Fassbender having a cat and mouse battle against a snowman-themed serial killer.
And this is a prestige director, isn't it?
This is the director of Let the Right One In and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Oh, that's very sad. I was wondering what happened to that guy.
A movie that's based on a best-selling, rave-reviewed book that was at one point going to be directed by Martin Scorsese. He still is like a producer or executive producer or something on this thing.
Yeah, wasn't it like legal trouble that kept him out of it? Like he had an obligation to direct another film, so he had to vacate the director's chair?
Yep, he was pretty much all ready to go with it for a while, but legal snafus took place with contracts. The same thing that put Emily Blunt in a Gulliver's Travels film. So that's a little side quest. It had nothing to do. I like the analogy.
I forgot that movie existed actually until just now.
Good. I'm glad I've tortured you with that information about Jack Black's Gulliver's Travels film.
I've only seen the trailer though. I mean, it's not like I have that scarred in my brain. I just have to remember like the 30 seconds I've wasted on that film.
I've seen it. And the scars are always fresh.
We're actually going to switch gears. Now it's Tales from the BOP about Gulliver's Travels. We might have to add that to the list because I'm curious and I don't actually want to watch it myself. But Mike, this is apparently a 3-day long movie. Why don't you jump right in and start explaining what the hell happened to the Snowman?
The Snowman is what happens when you're unable to film most of your script.
So I'm very curious. How long did you say the movie actually was? It's like an hour.
It's under 2 hours.
Or something like that?
It's an hour and 53 minutes with credits.
But okay, so it's almost 2 hours long, and yet they didn't film most of the script?
A lot of production problems ended up happening. It just sort of suddenly got money and then went into production. The director had absolutely no time. And the filming moved to London out of nowhere. And just logistical things. They had to keep jettisoning stuff they needed to film.
London, well known for their copious amounts of snow each year.
Their copious amounts of Norway.
London, Norway. I mean, I can barely tell the difference.
So, yeah, when you're dealing with a mystery film, actually having all of the parts to the mystery is kind of important. So what you end up with, and what I realized by the time the credits started to roll and I realized I wasted my morning, was you have the room with A-list actors. Because there's a lot of just bizarre things that end up taking place. A lot of staging that doesn't quite make sense. Things popping in and out of the film. Plot lines that just come out of nowhere and then don't tie into anything else, but are still there for some reason. Just, alright. Box Office Pulp guy has groggily woken up, pulled himself out of his cot, beer bottles and tequila bottles have crinkled on the ground, ding, 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 and it's time to enter my mind palace. And my mind palace is currently a raging snowstorm, starring a bored Michael Fassbender. We open on a house in the middle of fuck all Norway. There's a young boy looking out a window, seeing a car drive up, and he's yelling to his mom that Uncle Jonas has arrived. Early, apparently. He's apparently usually there on Tuesday. I am unsure why we're regaled with this information, but I'm glad you guys know as I now know that Uncle Jonas usually appears on Tuesday. So he brings food and stuff, and he starts teaching the boy like Norwegian history or some such shit, while the mother is sitting there at the table playing with coffee beans. The coffee beans will be a recurring motif, kinda. It depends if the movie remembers they're supposed to be a recurring motif. So anyway, whenever the kid is wrong or doesn't know something exactly, good old Uncle Jonas slaps the boy's mother.
And then the boy has to eat 10 espresso beans.
So he ends up knocking her out of the chair after the boy doesn't get enough things correct. At which point Uncle Jonas stands up and begins undressing as the boy then scrambles to the floor to pick up the coffee beans that fell and then runs outside to build a snowman. He uses the beans as teeth. That's why he grabs the coffee beans.
For a second there, I thought this movie didn't make sense.
All this scene happens within the span of a minute.
Okay, this seems concerning to me because who makes a snowman with teeth?
A lot of people do. That's actually a normal snowman.
Maybe big lumps of coal to make us smile, but in my mind, that's not teeth. That's just the outline of a mouth.
Is this really the part of the movie you're going to take issue with, Cody? We're going to be here a long time.
I'm sorry the snowman isn't realistic enough to you.
What, does he add ears on too? This is a step too far. It's beyond the pale.
Silly. It's not a Mr. Potato Head.
I'm sorry it's not a fucking ice sculpture, Cody. They're in Norway. They got other shit to do.
Harvest coffee beans for making snowman teeth.
But anyway, so Jonas is banging the mom upstairs in one of the most hilarious grunting sexings of all time. Just, and he seems like afterwards he's almost having a heart attack, like he just ran a goddamn marathon.
Like he Brock Sampson fucks.
So the boy is watching this and kind of listens to their the afterglow conversation, where the mom informs Jonas that she's going to tell his wife that the boy is actually his kid. So Jonas is like, then you'll never see me again. He leaves in a huff, seemingly what you'd assume is what the mother was aiming for, right? So anyway, the boy and the mother fucking run screaming after Jonas, pleading for him not to leave, and chase him in their car.
What?
Yakety Sax is playing the whole time.
They lose Jonas because of the snow and shit and all the winding roads, so the mother decides to just drive the car onto a frozen lake to commit suicide.
What?
We are less than 5 minutes into the film.
I've never seen a movie where they chase after the abusive dad. No, come back.
Also, do they not know where Jonas lives? Is he just a mystery man of the woods? They couldn't just drive to his house?
Oh no, he walk into blizzard like Yeti. He belongs to the snow now. This is how Norwegians talk.
Remember that recurring bit on Conan O'Brien? Conan O'Brien hates my country.
Send your angry letters to Box Office Pulp hates my homeland. Care a P.O. Box, go fuck yourself.
We're going to have so many angry Norwegians.
So at about 4 minutes and 40 seconds into the film, the boy gets out of the car and pleads with his mother to get out too, but she just kind of stares at him as the ice breaks and the car sinks. At which point we finally cut to opening credits, which are punctuated with the sounds of Fassbender snoring.
Oh, I was really hoping it was going to be the Immigrant Song. In my mind, this is just a knockoff version of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series.
Oh, that's what the movie's intended to be. It's why it got money.
From the trailers. Yeah.
Also, I love the idea of then cutting to the titles because it just makes it look like it's a superhero origin story. Like the ice is going to give them power. I must become the snowman, mother.
Why is the snow sentient?
I don't know. This movie's crazy.
Oh god, then as soon as it gets hot out, it dies. That's so depressing.
It's a short-lived cycle.
So we meet our hero, Harry Hole, waking up.
I want to pause and say, God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. What a name.
Norwegian. Come on, it makes sense. It's like Smith over there.
Is Hole a common Norwegian surname?
Tee hee hee hee, you said Hole. So Harry's passed out from being drunk the night before on a park bench. Whether or not there has been a time jump, whether or not that kid from the beginning is Harry, whatever the context of anything is, will not become clear until much, much later, because at less than 10 minutes in, this movie goes out of its way to make you as confused as possible.
I have to admit that's better than I was expecting. I swear to God, I thought you were going to say, we never know.
We never return to poor Jonas.
It's like the beginning of A Serious Man. Just make whatever you want out of that.
In a way, we truly do never know. But on the point of this movie making you as confused as possible, Harry goes home where he finds a little dog like lapping up some liquid of some kind, and then he nearly shoots a man wearing a hazmat suit.
In the same scene?
This is after the rest of the opening credits play. They're played over shots of Harry walking home, holding all of his belongings in a grocery bag, which he holds a lot throughout the film. So he goes home, sees the dog, turns around, nearly kills a guy wearing a full goddamn fucking hazmat suit.
Wait, important question. When you say grocery bags, we're going to be stuck with this for like the next hour. So I've got this pictured correctly in my mind palace. Is this a paper grocery bag with like a baguette sticking out of it, or is this a plastic one with handles?
It's plastic.
Oh, okay. That makes it a lot easier to carry around.
No, he doesn't just carry around a goddamn frozen baguette with him at all times around Norway.
Well, that's how people know you have groceries. There's a baguette sticking out the end of your
They're not
paper
full
bag.
of groceries. If they were full of groceries, it would apply. Otherwise, it's just a paper bag filled with your shit.
I was like, can I just add that this would be perfect if it were the opening of a Pink Panther movie? Clouseau comes home and there's just a dude in his in a hazmat suit. Aha! Assassin!
They wrestle.
I could also see Clouseau walking around all of London with a giant grocery bag with a giant baguette sticking out the end for like 3/4 of the film.
It would make a lot of sense.
Okay, so it's a plastic bag, no baguette. Gotcha. Moving on.
So anyway, the reason there's a hazmat guy there is apparently Harry's building has mold and they're spraying for it because of dry rot and whatnot. This has nothing to do with the rest of the plot. He's told he needs to find somewhere else to go, but we constantly see him back in his apartment. But occasionally he's also sleeping poison in like different places, so the movie does not make up its mind whether or not this scene actually happened. Harry also discovers some concert tickets that are a birthday gift for someone with the unfortunate name of Oleg. It seemed like the way Harry looks as he looks at the tickets, he seems to have forgotten something. So we immediately cut to Charlotte Gainsbourg.
Is she Oleg?
Who Harry has gone to see, and Harry is standing outside of a window of her art gallery, it looks like, and they see each other and look at each other, and then Harry leaves, and we cut inside a police station with Harry arriving. No idea what's going on here at all. Just, I don't know why he went to see her and then left, or who that character even is yet.
All right, I'm changing scores in my head. It was Yakety Sax. Now it's the Beatles, like, woke up, got out of bed, red comb across my head, and it's going to be that nightmare just on loop for the rest of this movie.
So Harry sits down at the cafeteria in the police station to have a bit of spot of breakfast finally, 8 hours later, and he begins opening a week's worth of mail. Now, from the scolding he's getting from who I assume to be his boss, but we can surmise Harry has disappeared for a week, possibly on some kind of bender. He appears to be an alcoholic. It is around this time I feel like an apt description for this film is you're trying to constantly ascertain what's going on moment to moment, like it's its own mystery.
The old meta mystery.
You think you like this movie? Solve it.
which you think would make the movie like some kind of audience participation mystery, so it makes it interesting. It's not. It's terrible. It's boring. Don't watch it. Anyway, one of the letters Harry opens is this like mysterious letter with a little drawing of a snowman on it. I shall read you the letter. I've transcribed it. Mr. Police, you really could freeze to death that way. While you were lying there, I was watching Mummy. By the time you read this, I will have built her and then a little cartoonish snowman drawing. Harry brings this up to no one.
I like the idea of our main character, instead of being called Harry Hole, being called Mr. Police.
He's a superhero.
Mr. Police to the rescue.
Like, is he just engaged in a cat and mouse game with a 5-year-old the entire movie? Because that would be interesting.
Stop or I'll shoot. And he just blows away a 5-year-old.
The games are over, Timmy. No, Mr. Police. The games have only just begun.
You'll never take me alive. He's like one of those battery-powered pedal car things.
Fucking his slides down a slide. Harry has to go with him. There's dramatic music.
You'll never guess what I left inside of that box. Your wife's pretty little head. He just looks down. There's a fucking Jack in the Box covered in blood. And he slowly cranks it.
No, Harry, don't. It's the only way I can see what's inside.
And it's boogers. It's just boogers.
Oh! And paste.
Okay, we're not getting paid. We're not getting paid to make the snowman better.
Yeah. Good point.
This is a waste of our talents.
Be bored, folks at home. So anyway, from Harry reading a letter from a serial killer, we just cut to him finally meeting up with Gainsbourg to figure out what the fuck's going on there. He tells her he totally didn't forget about Oleg's birthday. Now, we know that's untrue, but, Harry, alcoholic. We guess we've only met him 5 minutes prior. Now, it turns out that Oleg really wants to meet his real father. I'm going to skip ahead somewhat because fuck it. Oleg's real father is clearly Harry, but Oleg doesn't know that. If I'm wrong, I don't think I am, but fuck you if you're arguing with me. I haven't read the book yet. I want to. I own it. I'm going to soon.
That's impressive determination, man. Like, I think if I had that bad an experience, I don't know if I'd return back to the source of the crime.
Well, the book is completely fucking different than the movie, so it matters not.
I'm just mystified that he has a kid conceivably named Oleg Hole. Like
that's a wrestling limerick name if I've ever heard one. I could also honestly just tell you who the killer is up front, but it wouldn't make understanding of the movie any goddamn easier.
This is the point where Mike points to the audience and he says the killer was you all along, and then you feel bad.
Oh, goddamn you, William Castle.
With my new blame-o-vision.
I was here on a date, Castle. How am I supposed to go home with her now? She thinks I'm a killer.
I'm being arrested.
I guess you'll have to go to the falsely accused corner in the lobby. Get out of here, Castle, and then they sweep him away.
If you want a refund, you have to go stand in the snitches corner, and then you get stitches, because that's what snitches get.
I like the idea of William Castle being like this imp of the theater who then like gives you an ironic gimmick to the film you're watching if he appears. I feel like we should explore this mythology more in something that doesn't involve the snowman.
Hold up. Just the idea of William Castle being a Rumpelstiltskin type character running around the theater, but still with his like, fiddle-dee-dee, I'm William Castle kind of voice.
He's John Goodman.
Yeah, oh god, I could see him selling every movie under the sun. It's a romance movie, and he's over there like, oh, you have to go down Lover's Lane now. And then there's just a weird taped off heart section in the movie theater where people are just boning.
It honestly sounds like the coolest horror film of all time. Can we make this?
Like William Castle is just eating and it's going through him like he's Slimer.
Oh my god.
Movies!
How has no one done this? How has no one made a Slimer version of William Castle to be a horror anthology host?
He's the Phantom of the Opera, but it's a sleazy movie theater.
I want this to be the new Tales from the Crypt. I want this to be the new Vault of Horrors. Like this is beautiful. I want this so much.
Call up Joe Dante. We make Matinee the series.
Box Office Pulp is done. We can't beat this joke. This is what I'm going with for the rest of my producing career.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. The snowman's dead. Spoilers, spoilers. The snowman dies.
All snowmen die, Cody.
Yeah, boy. Summer's a real bitch.
Anyway, off of that, I do literally just want to end now. That was beautiful. But
Sorry,
unfortunately, we must soldier on because I spent 6 hours of my life rewatching this film.
That does make me want to end the episode right now, though, because boy, that'd be mean.
That would be fantastic. That would be our own William Castle gimmick. But a storm is rolling in, so I think that's perfect.
Good.
So from that, Harry is looking into a bar, and then he's immediately passed out on a sidewalk within like 30 seconds.
That's his superpower. He drinks that fast.
Bit of a lightweight, Harry Hole.
Or he has teleportation abilities.
He got the whiff of alcohol in the air and just fucking passed out.
We then go to a woman walking to her car, and she's hit in the back by a snowball, and no one's visibly around. She is somehow in no way visibly bothered by this, and just goes about her business. So she goes home where she meets up with her daughter, who's being watched by an angry James Darcy. James Darcy is mad that she's late and he leaves. I just want to say it is important to note that angry James Darcy is still a handsome son of a bitch.
Ooh.
Please tell me he doesn't have any further role in this movie. They just need him to show up and sit in the corner just being consumed with anger.
Okay, let me just say the first time I watched this, I thought this character and when he does reappear were two completely different characters. Because you only get an up-close shot of Darcy for a brief second in this scene, and he's doing kind of a different accent, so it was completely lost on me this was James Darcy.
I just like the implication that every Norwegian household has a house Darcy that takes care of the kids.
Just don't give him any socks or underwear. He'll just leave.
No, James Darcy is a free Darcy.
You have given James Darcy an ascot.
So, some more snowballs hit a window, and the woman looks out to see a snowman that's been built right outside of her house. We then cut away from that to Rebecca Ferguson arriving at Oslo Police Headquarters. And Harry's there. He slept on a random couch. So he wakes up and he meets her in the smoking room. It turns out that Ferguson is new, just transferred from Bergen, the city of Bergen. She also lets us know during this scene that at the academy, they actually study Harry's cases. Now...
So is Harry actually good at crime? Like, is he good at stopping crime, or...
It's going to become abundantly clear. Everyone's terrible at what they do in this movie, but Harry is supposed to be like fucking Batman.
Does the movie provide any evidence of this at any point? Because so far it looks like he's just a drunk who does a poor job alerting his boss to his, indiscretions.
And maybe starting with the book where it's Harry at his lowest probably wasn't a good call either, but hey.
Can you imagine Will Graham just passing out randomly whenever he enters?
Oh.
And just reading a child's snowman note. Oh, use the crayons, didn't you son of a bitch?
This is my design. And inside is just a fucking shitty drawing of a snowman.
I eat the glue. I like how it tastes. I should also, I think, mention that in the books, I believe Harry is way fucking older than Fassbender. So I was very confused during this scene because Fassbender and Ferguson are like close to the same age, but apparently she's been studying Harry's cases at the academy.
He was cracking cases when he was 14. He's a former boy detective.
Baby detective on the case.
Baby Detective Fassbender. Baby Detective Hole.
You were going to trigger like the wrong tags on that, man.
Yeah, I know. It would do great for Box Office Pulp. We're going to be on the dark web.
No, they keep stealing my ID.
Anyway, so Ferguson awkwardly leaves. We catch the little girl waking up looking for her mom, and I feel like this scene would have been better served after the ominous snowman shot, but hey, whatever. Editing's hard. She can't find her mom anywhere. And then we go back to Harry at the precinct. It's now night, or early evening. It kind of goes back and forth. Feels like it should be several hours earlier, but whatever. An entire day has seemingly gone by, and Harry, I guess, has accomplished nothing. I'm assuming he's an alcoholic. He asks Ferguson for a ride because he has no license, we discover. I assume it was taken away from him, though maybe he's just someone who doesn't like having a license, like me. Seemingly, though, he just kind of wants to go on to the case that she's been called on, because I guess he's not getting a lot of work. Or something. I don't know. It's all very murky. I don't know what's going on. Have you fucking figured that out yet? I don't know what the fuck is going on scene for scene. Anyway, so the call is the missing mom. While Ferguson interviews a witness, Harry decides to just go through her car, where he discovers clippings of J.K. Simmons, which I like to think we all have in our cars.
Ever since Oz.
And from that, we go from the actual plot of the movie. We cut to another city. We cut to Bergen, where a man whom we have not met at this point is talking to Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer has kind of a mullet. He's a little dapperly dressed, just a little bit, not that much.
Not trying to impress anyone, but, he doesn't want to look like a slob.
He is also dubbed.
The first time you mentioned this, I thought you were fucking with me.
Val Kilmer is dubbed by whom? I don't know. It could be himself. Honestly, it's possible it is. It's entirely possible it's dubbed by Val Kilmer. It sounds exactly like he's dubbed by Tom Berenger. So imagine a dying of cancer Val Kilmer with a mullet playing a Norwegian, but dubbed by Tom Berenger.
I can't.
No, those things don't fit together in my head.
The man who's talking to Kilmer, it turns out his wife is missing, and despite Kilmer having been suspended from the police force we discovered through dialogue, he is apparently a great detective, and this guy wants his help. And more importantly, he wants to keep it quiet for reasons that are never made clear throughout the rest of the film.
Okay, so we've got a down on his luck super reporter, or a super investigator, asking for the help of another down on his luck super investigator?
No, I have no idea who the other guy is.
Oh, okay.
We've never met this character before. We just cut to this randomly. This is Kilmer scene 1. Now it's kind of connected when we cut back to Harry, because the same photo of the missing wife that Kilmer now has to go find is in a folder that Harry's looking at in her car. I'm only vaguely aware of what this means on viewing 2. So Harry then is looking at the snowman that's outside the missing woman's house. And at this point, he's reminded of the little snowman drawing. And this snowman that's outside this house, it's a sad, sad snowman. Like, so sad. It's just depressing. All the snowmen all end up having different faces.
Does it have a coffee bean frown?
They all that is what differentiates normal snowman from serial killer evil snowman.
Okay.
It's at this point it occurs to me that I don't know why a fucking weird mystery letter seemingly from a serial killer has been of zero concern to Harry up until this point. The letters the serial killer writes barely fucking come up. So Harry at this point just steals some shit out of Ferguson's car and takes it home. The file with that missing wife that Kilmer is, I guess, going to track down, along with a grisly crime scene photo of a woman's body that's been, cut up into various pieces. Kind of an anatomy of a murder sort of way. Then we cut to Kilmer listening to his police radio like he's fucking Batman again or something. And he hears a report of a body being found. So dubbed Kilmer goes to the crime scene where no one is happy to see him. And I don't know if he's supposed to be a loose cannon cop with nothing to lose or what's going on. All I know is Toby Jones is pissed and doesn't want him there.
Toby Jones is in this?
The cast just keeps unfolding to me throughout the film, and I'm shocked constantly.
Also, do you think they just felt that he squandered his role as Batman?
Either that, or they felt like Tom Berenger should have been Batman. So, I know that they don't want Kilmer there and Toby Jones is pissed because to cover up the fact that Kilmer is dubbed, this entire scene is done with other characters talking over a radio that's been placed over top the scene, describing what's happening in the movie.
Is this Repo the Genetic Opera? Are they just assembling movies out of spare footage?
So, yes. So it just looks like Kilmer and Toby Jones are staring at each other with radio chatter over top, and then Kilmer walks off. Kilmer finds a snowman, and then he fires a gun into the air, making seagulls scatter, revealing that they've been feeding on a corpse of a woman who's been cut up a lot like the way in the photo that Harry's been looking at. I have no idea if this is in the past. I don't know if this is in the present. It could be the future. I don't know what the fuck's going on. End of Kilmer scene 2. Ferguson then goes to a restaurant where Harry's at and confronts Harry on the fact that he stole her shit. But he reveals that she, in fact, stole the file from the cold case archives, which I guess means that was in the past, or whether or not that was a different... I don't know. So she tells Harry about a slew of missing women, including that one they were just at, were all similar. It's women who went missing while it was snowing. Harry even reminds her in the movie that it's Norway in the winter. That means nothing. Harry is somehow both a terrible policeman and really sensible. It's kind of just he's not really a cop. He's just kind of a normal dude with some common sense, but has no idea how police work works.
Is he just not sure from Idiocracy? He's the smartest man in Norway.
So all the missing women were married and had children. So at this point, I've kind of figured out that based on the opening we saw, that maybe all of the women were probably and based on some other stuff involving the missing woman, all these women were probably having affairs, since that was kind of obvious the last 2 missing women we've been introduced and the opening flashback. So the mystery of the film is pointless at 33 minutes in because you're about 45 minutes ahead of all the characters.
Oh, God.
So that's super helpful. A mysterious gated mansion we cut to now.
No.
2 women approach us. One nervously rings the buzzer. She is let in. The other woman tells her, "It's okay, go on. She approaches the door and enters. Ferguson is watching this. We then cut away to Harry and Gainsbourg watching Oleg's hockey game before we learn what the fuck that was.
If I can jump back a second, I love the idea of Jamie shouting "no" at the movie and having it have an impact.
It just
one of
turns
those
around and goes.
it's one of those really bad movies from years ago where they gave you the DVD option of pick your own adventure, where you could be the character goes down the hallway, you push left on the remote and your character does something random. There were 3 movies made with that functionality in the 2000s, and it cracked me up each time.
That's why I couldn't watch the end of Joyride. I'm no, just go home.
So during the hockey game, we meet Gainsbourg's boyfriend or husband, or I don't know. But he's some nice guy surgeon fellow. I don't know his name. He ends up giving Harry a prescription or something to help with sleep, and Harry is fascinated that he can do that with his phone. Anyway, so this is a murder mystery. So Oleg and Harry go to a concert afterwards. Though first, they end up having this tense conversation while eating ice cream about Oleg wanting to meet his real father. Imagine, if you will, a tense father-son conversation where every statement, no matter how short, no matter how long, is punctuated by a bite and lick of ice cream from a cone, lip smack included. Your mother's just trying to do the best for you. I don't want her to baby me.
Oh, God. You know what would be so fucking sad? What if the serial killer note was just left by his son, and that's why he's ignoring it?
God, that's so depressing. Stop making the movie worse somehow. Despite not having a good time at the concert because they don't like the band, Harry and Oleg plan a camping trip, which Oleg's school is holding. It's like a father-son camping trip. Oleg finds it a little weird that Harry wants to go on it, despite him, being his mom's ex and all. But they agree. They're both excited. This is a murder mystery. And to go back to the concert for a minute, I do agree with them that it was terrible because, oh my god. This is like the tone of the film in music form. It is some bloopy music, and there's a bald guy on stage screaming and spinning around in a circle. And I mean like actually screaming. It's not screaming or anything like that. He's just making hyper scream sounds. Ah! 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 That's it.
You've insulted our Norwegian national hero, Jorgen Jorgenstein.
He was our former president.
Revenge this was not.
Come on, Mike, sing us a song. You're the music Mike.
Never call me that again, all because it vaguely has a nice alliterative pattern to it. But back to this piece of shit. Oleg's crappy birthday bash aside, there's like another missing woman apparently. Ferguson comes and gets Harry because the husband of the missing woman asked for Harry specifically. Because, once again, Harry's like a fucking superhero in this universe, I guess. And somewhere in during all of this, we get Fassbender solemnly looking out his window while wearing nothing but underwear.
So the inside of my memory palace is what you're saying.
And for no reason, too. Like, I don't know why this is in here, because Ferguson calls him. There's a missing woman. I'll deal with it tomorrow.
She's already gone. What do I have to care?
Also, I am a stickler for the rules when it comes to these moments. It's not a male action hero butt stare moment unless he's staring out the window without underwear.
I mean, normally helps like Hello Darkness, My Old Friend is playing. That always gives it away to me.
There was a lot of blue lighting, if that helps.
Still not a full Estevez.
So they arrive at this apparently missing woman's house to find weird, like, boop bop music playing in her house. Like, just a series of sounds of beeps and boops to a vague beat. I want to blow my fucking brains out. They also find the missing woman. Not missing. Just perfectly fine and slaughtering some chickens. Also, it's Chloe Sevigny.
Hello!
I like how other movies' casts reveal themselves. This cast oozes gradually through the movie.
So everyone's obviously really confused, and Harry and Ferguson end up leaving, assuming it was like a crank call or something. Sevigny calls her husband, who called in the report apparently, and tells him the child is not his. I'm sorry. Was not his. Dun dun dun. She then turns from the phone call to find a bloody baby doll on the chopping block where she kills her chickens. She is then murdered, and the killer uses like some kind of weird serial killer machine to take like her head and limbs apart. That's like wires, like a gun with like wire on it and shit that whirls up and immediately like decapitates her and all that shit.
It's a flying guillotine?
Arguably, it's like the only interesting part of the entire movie is this fucking weapon.
So like a fucking Saw movie just wandered in for a minute?
Pretty much.
Okay.
It's at this point Harry and Ferguson get a missing person call for the same woman they've only left, who's just a little bit down the road, and Harry's once again asked for personally. So they turn around, it's dramatic, like, holy shit, what's happening? And I'm bored and it's only 45 minutes into the fucking movie. But after they turn around, though, is like the best part, because we get sinister snowman building.
No!
Dun, dun, dun.
Like, okay, all the shit talk, this movie is worth it for watching a snowman get built in the most evil of manners.
How do you even, I don't understand, how do you build an evil, like, okay, I understand making an evil snowman, sure, slanty eyebrows or whatever. How do you make building a snowman evil?
You have to see it to believe it. Go watch The Snowman.
No.
That's what happens when you make a snowman out of blood, Cody.
That would just look like they're making a really shitty, slushy snowman.
But seems like it would be delicious, right?
It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be evil.
Continuing on, Harry and Ferguson arrive back at the house to so they arrive back at Chloe Savini's place to find Chloe Savini looking for Chloe Savini.
But
It turns out she has a twin sister, because this movie just beats the shit out of your senses. Like, left and right, it just beats the fuck out of you.
The old twin route.
is The Snowman accidentally a David Lynch movie?
It's very close to it. And you don't know how right you are, because yes, during this part, Harry does in fact find a snowman in which the severed head of Chloe Savini is the head of the snowman. And yeah, it looks hilarious.
Would it just fall right through?
You put a stake in there. It's cold. So they question Chloe Savini about Chloe Savini, and Chloe Savini reveals that Chloe Savini recently had an abortion, and Chloe Savini didn't know who the father was.
It turns out his father was a snowman the entire time.
Snow dick, of course.
It's at this point we finally return to J.K. Simmons to find out who the fuck J.K. Simmons is, and it turns out he is a rich dude. I'm sorry. He's called a king of industry.
He owns a newspaper.
And it was very hard. Like, should I just call him J.J. Jameson the entire episode, or just let it go? But I felt it would besmirch the name of J. Jonah Jameson. But anyway, J.K. Simmons in this film is trying to bring the Winter Games, the Winter Cup, to Oslo. And it's during this part we also meet up with the girl who entered the mysterious mansion. And at this party where he's trying to drum up business for bringing the Winter Cup to Oslo, Ferguson is also there recording him secretly. And Harry is also there, but it's completely unrelated. He's only there because his boss is there, and he's finally giving his boss the letter from the killer. A damn week later.
What you mean to say is he's hard up for evidence, so he's passing on his son's drawing, the pretense that it's creepy enough to count. Oh yeah, it's just a deranged mind here.
Why is it signed Oleg? Oh my god, my son's the killer. Arrest him. This way I'll never have to remember his birthday. But anyway, J.K. Simmons is brought Mansion Girl by the guy the mansion belongs to, who then takes off Mansion Girl's clothes to show, like, her off, I guess. J.K. Simmons then takes her photo, and Mansion Girl goes running off crying, and J.K. Simmons calls, like, creepy mansion guy an idiot. And I have no idea what's happening.
What does any of this have to do with getting pictures of the snowman?
Parker. So Harry goes home and takes some of those pills he was prescribed, and in his apartment, that weird bloopy music that was playing at Chloe Savini's place is playing again, and the mold guy is like dancing to it in his full hazmat suit.
So we are in a David Lynch movie.
But as it becomes clear to us after he leaves, this isn't the mold guy. Harry just doesn't know this because he's wearing a respirator mask. So that means that's the killer, and that's the killer's favorite music.
Is it Dennis Nilsson?
This means nothing, by the way. This means absolutely nothing. Because like all things, we're just moving on from every single event in this film because the movie doesn't care about itself. This is just a collection of scenes, like tenuously connected, slapped back to back, because they didn't film the entire fucking script, and there was no way to fix this fucking train wreck of a goddamn picture. This flick is as boring as my balls, and I'm out of patience even describing it.
Both the movie and your balls.
This could have used a little bit of that William Castle magic.
Some of that goose magic.
Some of that ghost magic. Every couple of scenes, you have a heartbeat sensor.
So Harry goes to figure out how the killer could have possibly known Chloe Savini. No, not that Chloe Savini. The other Chloe Savini was pregnant.
I was about to ask, can we label these like Chloe Savini 1 and 2 or Prime and...
No, you will be as confused as the movie goddamn wants you to be.
Okay.
But through this, we learned that creepy mansion guy is actually a pregnancy doctor. Now,
A doctor of pregnancy?
oh, he's called a pregnancy doctor in the movie, so that's just the descriptor I'm going to use.
Hello, I am pregnancy doctor. I see you have pregnancy. May I doctor it?
Hello, Mr. Pregnancy Doctor. Would you like to play a game with me in the snow? Oleg, no. God damn it, I will get you that puppy one day.
I like
Stop
Oleg.
turning people into snowmen just so we can hang out.
Poor retarded Oleg. Creepy mansion abortion guy, whom he shall now be known, appears to be connected to the missing women. So Harry and Ferguson go off to confront creepy mansion abortion doctor guy at his creepy mansion. Where Ferguson immediately derails the questioning about the missing girls to ask about J.K. Simmons. You know, I want to add an adjective here based on this scene, actually, where he has his shirt unbuttoned and shit. I'm going to add another adjective to his descriptor. Creepy mansion abortion sleazy doctor guy.
Ooh, geez, that's a mouthful, though.
I know, I'll simplify it from now on, but I just wanted to get that in there. So after that fails miserably, Harry goes to his tech gal, because I guess he has a Felicity now, to get into Ferguson's private computer. Turns out her password is Cloudberry. This will be important later, sort of. It doesn't matter. Let's move on. And he ends up finding a bunch of... I lied. It's actually this kind of ties things together, but, fuck this movie anyway. He finds a bunch of surveillance footage of J.K. Simmons. This leads to a hilarious moment, honestly, where Harry is brooding, in his office, which is honestly just a library, and he's smoking and shit, and he shares this office with Ferguson, and he sits down, as he's seemingly alone, he sits down, and then suddenly from the other side of his desk, Ferguson's head pops up like the fucking gopher from Caddyshack, and asks him if he needs a ride.
Never ask that of Michael Fassbender, trust me.
Swinging pendulum
shame.
of desire. And then Harry runs out into the rain and starts crying. No. But after she leaves, he ends up pulling her desk apart to get into her locked drawer. And I'd like to take a moment.
Oh, no.
Because I went during the scene, holy shit, I have never actually seen anybody in a film, in a TV show, just take out the back of the locked drawer and then just reach into the drawer and pull out what the fuck they need. Why the fuck isn't this a thing? That's so simple. Instead of picking the lock, you just take out the back of the fucking drawer. This movie giving me crime ideas aside, he pulls out a mention of Kilmer in the files. I just want to say this does not count as a Kilmer scene. His name's just in there for a quick second.
Gotcha.
Also is a picture of a man with no head holding a shotgun. Dead, obviously. Obviously dead, not Kurt Cobain. And all this shit went down the city of Bergen, where we've seen Kilmer, where Ferguson came from. I mean, it's of importance, but
Is Bergen going to be more important? Can we change the movie title to Bad News Bergen?
See, now I'm mad because Harry does in fact go to Bergen in the next scene. So yeah, that's this portion of the movie. You win, Cody.
Yeah, I'm a mystery solver.
Hey, William Castle would be so happy. So on the train where he's in the children's carriage, let that sink in. He bumps into nice guy surgeon boyfriend man of Charlotte Gainsbourg. It's here where Harry is reminded about Oleg's camping trip, which is that very day, and we cut to Oleg literally standing at a bus stop holding a shit ton of camping gear and waiting for Harry. So, luckily, nice guy surgeon boyfriend dude calls Gainsbourg and covers for Harry, saying he, never got Harry's voicemails and stuff, and, Harry totally didn't forget. Because nice guy surgeon dude is a nice guy surgeon dude. So that's great. There's a nice character. This is a murder mystery, by the way. Murder mystery camping trip. In Bergen, Harry, holding a shopping bag containing his belongings for some reason once again, meets up with the guy who hired Kilmer to answer some questions about J.K. Simmons. So we're introduced to that character finally. Now, Simmons was banging this dude's missing wife. If that had not previously been abundantly clear based on J.K. Simmons being important to the plot. The big twist here, though, is that sleazy mansion abortion doctor guy, they've never heard of him. He wasn't their doctor. Now, if you've been at all interested in this mystery previously to this point, of which you are not at all interested in this mystery, this will be shocking to you in some form.
Oh, geez. Okay.
There's like another hour left in this thing, so just feel free to pretend that you're shocked and invested. It's at this point we meet back up with dubbed Kilmer, and he's in a bathtub growling.
Are the growls dubbed?
Yes.
Did they need to ADR different tones of growl when the script changed?
So he hears someone come into his house, and he investigates in a robe, looking exactly like a man who has cancer, and he finds snowy footprints and a letter, which I will now read because I transcribed this one too. Mr. Police, sorry to interrupt your drinking. You are finding out a lot about me. Do you want to find out more? Let's have a cup of coffee in your hut, and then the drawing of a snowman.
Oleg is so lonely. He's trying to spend time with other cops because they might let him get to know his dad.
Other alcoholic cops, to be specific. Oleg has a type. So from that, cut to dubbed Kilmer in the Bergen Police headquarters, talking on the phone, while a balloon-filled party is going on behind him. Toby Jones is holding a balloon. Is this important to the serial killer plot? No.
Is he sad while holding the balloon?
No, he's thrilled. He's so happy. Maybe it's his party. Maybe it's a birthday party.
Mike, I'm calling this in the episode so you'll remember. Can that please be the episode image? Just smiling Toby Jones, the balloon.
I think it's better if he's sad. Like, a sad man holding a balloon is normally funny.
Sad Toby Jones, though. Stop making this movie more depressing.
Sad Toby Jones and his balloon. It's a new sad folk song.
So while everyone's singing and then passing out balloons and stuff directly behind him, Kilmer's trying to find out about possible abortions in regards to the missing woman.
Please tell me he's still in the robe.
Oh God, if only. But he does yell at the woman on the phone, and he's dubbed, so it's hilarious.
How horrifying is that? A dubbed over Val Kilmer coming into a police station yelling at you about abortion while he may or may not be wearing a robe.
And his face can't move. And it's at this point, after he hangs up he angrily grabs a squirt bottle full of liquor, throws some shit aside, opens a window, and climbs out.
Val Kilmer wasn't supposed to be in this movie, was he? That just happened.
While on the side of a building, Kilmer holds a squirt bottle full of liquor to his dick, making humping motions towards Toby Jones and squirting from it.
What?
That's a waste of good vodka.
He then drinks from the bottle while standing on the edge of the building. This is Kilmer, scene 3. We will not see this character again.
Goodbye, Kilmer.
Goodbye, Kilmer actually is a fantastic name for a band.
Really is.
Or a children's book. That's what Oleg needs.
Goodbye, Kilmer. Good night, Moon. Goodbye, Batman. Gone so soon.
So from Kilmer on the side of the building getting drunk, Harry is now talking to Toby Jones. There is no party going on. And Harry is asking about the photo of the man with no head holding a shotgun.
Wait, did they make everybody leave because of Kilmer? Everyone just go home. You'll only just encourage him. Sir, he is pooping. No, Veronica, you're encouraging him. Don't look.
Was this The Simpsons? Just don't look. Just
don't look. But we find out the man who killed himself was a detective. He had been suspended. They found him dead in his cabin. It's an obvious looking suicide. They didn't investigate any further because of that. There's only an hour left in the movie, thank God. One weird thing during this scene is Harry pointing out coffee beans on the ground around the corpse in this black and white photo. This is where they also fuck up, because Harry's pointing to shit on the ground. He somehow calls out the fact they're coffee beans. You can pretty much see nothing in the photo. I don't know how you fuck up a photo that needs to show there's coffee beans in it.
No.
Just put dots on it.
Harry took this photo home. He Blade Runnered it. Enhance. Sector 7G. No. Enhance.
There's a snake tattoo on the dead man.
Yes, right there.
Oh,
Snake scales.
God. Talk about my memory palace. That's my memory palace. Michael Fassbender in a noir cyberpunk cityscape, muttering "enhance" in a lonely apartment while jazz plays.
I feel like we're 2 years away from that. So while Harry investigates this murder cabin, let's face it, Ferguson is informed that the missing mother of the little girl, her cell phone just got turned on, and its location is Sleazy Abortion Mansion and Sleazy Abortion Doctor. Now, this is obviously a trap, and the audience knows it, because we just found out from info Harry got that Sleazy Abortion Doctor has nothing to do with anything, putting us a mile ahead of Ferguson and the scene we have to watch, making all of this prelude to nothing.
Oh, Jesus.
So while Ferguson walks into the killer's trap, Harry discovers in the cabin that Ferguson is in reality the daughter of the headless corpse holding a shotgun. This is intercut with the discovery of Sleazy Mansion Abortion Guy's doctor's corpse, which has been set up in a recreation of her father's death in his garage. Because, once again, clearly it was not suicide, but murder.
Murder most cold.
I mean, not to jump ahead here again, but twice I've watched this movie, and I'm still, on shaky ground about how related any of this is. And the movie does kind of just give up with it eventually in a lot of instances, so... Oh, also, there's a shot of right after she finds the corpse, a shot of a shocked snowman with, its hands up, with a, gasp look on its face. As if the movie itself is going, dun, dun, dun!
Spring is coming!
So in Sleazy Abortion Guy, Doc's freezer, they find, heads and body parts and shit. Harry immediately calls out how obvious of a frame job all of this is. Within seconds, calling out how nothing makes any sense, but his boss just doesn't want to hear it. Also, Ferguson has been suspended for some reason because
they just want the movie to end.
Everyone in this movie is just bad at their job. Also, Oleg ran away.
Oh, come on, Oleg.
Well, I mean, after Kilmer abandoned him.
The discovery of the fact Oleg ran away is unrelated to the next scene because Harry immediately goes to confront Ferguson. So I don't know why we've discovered that Oleg ran away already. It's so unimportant in this moment. But anyway, Harry goes to confront Ferguson over, the info he found out in Bergen. He enters her place and she attacks. For some reason. I don't know why. They wrestle in possibly one of the most dumbfounding fucking scenes I've ever witnessed. This is actually the exact scene where I realized this is just the fucking room. This is just the room. Because to stop her, Harry lays on top of her after he gets her to the ground. He just goes like a plank and lays on top of her to keep her from not beating him up anymore. And then in that position, laying there, they have an emotional scene about her father and her obsessive hunt for his killer, which she believes to be J.K. Simmons, while Harry is just laying on top of her, and they're both pretty much staring directly into camera, seemingly pleading with their eyes for some sort of explanation as to why the scene is being staged this way and why it's not ending. You know the scene in Green Lantern where Hammond and Hal have a scene laying down next to each other? Imagine that.
And now's the part where the William Castle ghost comes into the room and is like, now you must tell the actors what's going on in this scene. Ooh. Seriously, you have described this scene to us on a couple of occasions since watching this movie. And I can only speak for myself, but I always assumed there was a key element you were leaving out. What a fool I was. This actually makes less sense in context.
Oh, I'm going to try to make sense of what doesn't make sense. So of the plot of the movie here for a second. Also, to make the laying on top of each other thing even more nonsensical, they eventually move from that position and continue the conversation, making it null and void why they need to be laying on top of one another to have that emotional conversation. Anyway, so...
Do you think she was just like, you know what, we got to do this anyway? Can Fassbender lay on me? I mean, can I get something out of this?
I've seen it. I've watched Shame. I like how that's everyone's catchphrase around Fassbender. I've seen Shame. And then Fassbender runs out into the rain crying. So, okay. So the missing wife that Ferguson's father was investigating had been having an affair with J.K. Simmons. The sleazy abortion doc is J.K. Simmons' pimp, who brings him like girls and shit. J.K. Simmons and sleazy abortion doc were also around the murders, making it likely to Ferguson that not only did J.K. Simmons kill her father, but is also the serial killer whom is never once ever referred to as the Snowman.
Wait. Does that mean that in the context of this adaptation, the Snowman is the one going, woo?
Yes.
So the title is That Snowman We Found That Time. Makes as much sense as anything else in this movie.
Oh, it's actually Michael Keaton as Jack Frost. That's the killer.
That is the Snowman?
So it's during this scene where Fassbender was just laying on top of Ferguson, they were staring directly in the camera, is when they decide to throw in the big moments where Ferguson gives Harry a drink and he chooses not to drink it.
Yeah.
Because just throwing that big character-changing moment out of nowhere with no build-up at all. Harry then takes Ferguson's gun, wants her gun, takes her gun, and before he leaves, he gives her an incredibly awkward hug from behind, which is weird. And then he leaves. Ferguson then reaches into her oven and gets out another gun.
That's a bad place to store those.
And she leaves to go to confront J.K. Simmons. And while she's walking down the street, she passes a snowman. But it's not one of the evil snowmen. It's a normal snowman. Until the camera pans around to the back of the snowman, revealing on the back of that snowman's head, it has the second face of an evil snowman.
No!
The Professor Quirrell Man.
It was very much that. So this means nothing, like everything else in this fucking picture. So Harry is now on the floor of his apartment listening to records, because I guess he's a music fan now. This hadn't been introduced previously. Gainsbourg shows up to tell Harry that Oleg ran away. We then immediately cut back to Ferguson, and I want to cry from this whiplash editing that's about to get so bad I had to, against my better will, against my judgment, rewind twice so I could figure out what was going on.
You burned it to a VHS tape just so you could hear the click whir as you rewound time to watch it again.
So from Gainsbourg going, Oleg ran away, we immediately cut to J.K. Simmons with a Norwegian accent talking about the Winter World Cup passionately.
Okay, I just want to see that independent of anything else in that movie.
I recommend looking up any scene with J.K. Simmons from this fucking movie. From J.K. Simmons' speech about the Winter Cup, we immediately cut back to Gainsbourg telling Harry that Oleg is just at a friend's house, which makes all of that and all of this pointless. And just going back to this editing for a second, I want to take a moment to just say, as a rule of film, remember, future filmmakers, not everything needs to be an intercut.
That
But
does
why not,
build
Mike?
tension. It just confuses.
Not everything is symmetrical, not everything plays together, not everything needs to be intercut with one another. Ah,
I do like the implication, though, that this is some kind of Chinatown-like scheme to bring the World Cup to Norway. And that was just him laying it all out as all the tumblers go into place. All
would've
the
been
dominoes fall.
that would have been so much more interesting. God
The old
damn.
Norwegian snowman plot.
Oldest
I can't
trick of
believe
the
we
world.
fell for it. Ocean's 14 got us.
Okay, fucking also during this bit, we learned that Gainsbourg would rather be with Harry, which, trust me, if you watch the movie, is obvious from the onset. They end up nearly fucking, blah, 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 but we'll get back to all of that in a minute because we immediately fucking cut back to Ferguson and J.K. Simmons, and Ferguson is incognito. If only she was wearing a beret, but she's flirting with J.K. Simmons, who then takes a picture of her because I guess that's his thing. His bodyguard gives her the key to his room for after World Cup lovemaking, I guess. We immediately cut back to Gainsbourg straddling Harry and rubbing his face. To music, she dry grinds on him for like quite a while.
Oh, okay. I like Charlotte Gainsbourg, and she is not an unattractive woman, but why did sexual Gainsbourg become a thing in recent years?
It's so weird.
She's not Helen Mirren, I'm sorry. It's like having your boozy aunt hit on you. It's like,
And going back to the sexy Gainsbourg in this movie, remember, Harry's supposed to be like 20 years older than Fassbender, I'm pretty sure. So that casting makes slightly more sense, but yeah, they gotta stop. Also, after she dry grinds on him for a while, she then just gets up and walks away. And we just immediately cut back to Ferguson entering J.K. Simmons' room. I can't
Did she
do this
finish?
anymore. In J.K. Simmons' room, she ends up setting up the most obvious fucking secret camera of all time. Just in the light, it's huge. It's a fucking
it's in a
tablet.
teddy bear.
Like, it's fucking... No one is good at their job.
I cannot believe they resisted the obvious pull of making a little plush snowman. It's like, oh, that was the snowman all along.
After she puts the camera up, we then immediately cut back to Gainsbourg and Harry. And she gets a call from nice guy doctor guy. And it's all very awkward because the dry humping that just happened. It's just all awkward. And from the awkwardness, we immediately cut back to Ferguson waiting for J.K. Simmons, which we then immediately cut back to Gainsbourg finding the pills that nice guy doctor guy prescribed for Harry. This pisses her off for some reason that is never fucking explained, and she leaves. We then immediately cut back to Ferguson. While she waits, she is startled. All of this has happened within the course of like 2 minutes and 55 goddamn seconds.
Just cuts back to J.K. Simmons. Chaos is a ladder.
Anyway, so Ferguson is startled, but nowhere near as startled as she needs to be, because what startles her are the sounds of whizzing wire. I don't know about you, but if I'm sitting in the dark on a bed in a strange hotel room and then sounds of mechanical wiring begin to start, I think either a serial killer is about to kill me or an X-Men villain has arrived. There's nothing in between that. This is obviously the serial killer mechanism we heard earlier take the life of poor Chloe Savini. No, not that Chloe Savini. Stop it. It is the other Chloe Savini. Get it right. So, while intercutting with the announcement of the World Cup coming to Oslo, which makes J.K. Simmons very happy, we're intercutting with Ferguson being attacked by the killer. We also very hilariously briefly see his face due to some shoddy camera work. So, if you folks at home have the snowman, I didn't do this, but you may want to go ahead and just pause on that shot, because, hey, that's the killer. So he cuts off one of her fingers so he can get into her police tablet, which has a fingerprint code thing on it.
Which is confusing because she's suspended, right? Was I following right? Like she wasn't actually on the force the moment when she lost her finger?
Correct. Yeah,
So,
you'd
like,
think they'd like go, hey,
would
can
lock
we
that
have
shit
all
down.
of our confidential files? But hey, what do I know about policing? More than any character in this film. So the next morning, Harry is enjoying a nice cup of joe at his window of the apartment he probably shouldn't be in because he's dying of black mold. All of this is in his head. He's all hallucinating because of the mold.
Turns out he's Kilmer all along. He's just dying of cancer.
It's all dubbed by Fassbender. That's the clue. Harry looks down from his window and sees on the top of his car the impression of a snowman.
Boom, boom, boom.
So he rushes down, opens up his car, and he finds Ferguson dead. Sort of. So, like, okay,
Sort
she's
of
dead
dead,
in the
like-
context of the film, but let me take a moment to explain some shit. Because this is weird, because it just kind of looks like she's unconscious.
Mhm.
I should mention that Ferguson's character does not die in the book and is in several books afterwards. Now, I'm pretty sure she wasn't supposed to die in the movie either, but they never shot more footage of her after this moment because of money. So they just edited in that she died.
Problem solved.
So Harry ends up going through Ferguson's tablet files himself for clues, and he sees some footage she recorded of her questioning James Darcy, in which James Darcy says, some questionable and mysterious things don't quite line up with things he told Harry earlier in the film. We also know this because of a techno song that Harry kind of puts on for a second, because he rewinds and replays the mysterious thing Darcy says over and over again, like 50 fucking times, because I guess he's fucking stupid, because no one's good at their goddamn job in this movie. So you just get Darcy saying 3 words over and 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 over for all the people in the back. So it turns out Darcy was lying to Harry about not going with his wife to the pregnancy doctor because he told Ferguson the opposite. And Harry wants some goddamn answers. And while questioning Darcy in this scene, the little girl, Darcy's daughter, we'll say, just suddenly rises up from outside the car they're talking in and slams against the car window and yells, "Ah!" and then just stares at them both after startling them. Darcy tells her to go back inside, and then she slowly, creepily ducks down from the window, and you hear footsteps running away. This has nothing to do with the scene at hand, other than finding out that the little girl isn't actually Darcy's, because poor James Darcy is infertile. And an infertile James Darcy is the saddest thing in this movie. I don't want to live in that world, so I'm glad the snowman isn't real for multiple reasons. But anyway, that got very Lynchian. Long dramatic fucking story short, they didn't go to see sleazy abortion doctor mansion man guy. They saw this other doctor, and oh my god, there appears to be only one other doctor in the movie. And honestly, I've left out a lot, but if you've been watching the movie at all, in person, with it actually on your screen, A, I'm sorry. B, it has been obvious for a while that, yeah, nice guy surgeon boyfriend dude is the fucking killer. So Harry tries to warn Gainsbourg about this, but it's too late. Nice guy surgeon serial killer dude has arrived to kidnap Gainsbourg and Oleg.
I just want to say, this is way funnier now to me, because this entire time I've been imagining this character as Luke Wilson's cameo in Rushmore.
You just added so much.
Could you imagine his scenes with Oleg? These are OR scrubs. How are they? As he slowly draws a snowman on a sheet of paper.
Oh my god, you have no idea how much funnier that makes the next scene because fucking he explains to Oleg that they're not so different because they're both bastards. And this is all intercut with Harry in his house finding like all of the evidence in the world just laid out like on tables and shit, and a lot of like weird close-ups, like quick cuts to a painting of baby chickens. Make of that what you will.
I guess there's symmetry with other Chloe Savini's death, but not really.
Wait, other Chloe Savini or other Chloe Savini?
Other Chloe Savini.
Oh, okay.
The joke is there's actually a third one.
Don't get the movie started. Don't look at it. It'll start changing on you like the fucking staircase in Harry Potter.
Shoot it.
That'll teach those wizards.
So fucking nice guy Snowman is tracked to that house from the very beginning of the movie, and there is like a few things that ties some stuff together, but it's like mind-numbingly confusing, and it's thrown at you in a rush. Like over the phone, yelling at Harry while Harry's in a car rushing there. So I've seen the movie twice. Couldn't tell you half the information that's being yelled at from over a phone. The important thing is Harry arrives to confront nice guy surgeon snowman dude. And he also somehow misses the fact that Ferguson's finger is nailed to the front door for some reason. Sinister reasons, I assume. Just to be sinister. Ooh.
Long-standing Norwegian tradition. You put up a friendly finger on holidays.
It keeps the Krampus away.
Exactly. It wards off Santa Claus. No gifts here this year. Rebecca Ferguson's fingers.
Nothing but naughty children.
It has to be specifically Rebecca Ferguson's finger. So Harry has to like answer questions and shit, or else Gainsbourg dies. Like it's the fucking Riddler. They're sinister questions, I should say. They're not like Norwegian history again. The details of this confrontation are not important because I have, once again, for the 800th time, I've seen this movie twice, and besides understanding the killing women who have bastard children like him part, because in his eyes, I guess they're like doing a disservice to the children or whatever, I guess, I don't understand anything else about his thing. Why the snow stuff? Why the snowman? Why most of it? Nearly every single motivation about this fucking character is murky, and I'm tired. I'm so very, very tired. Literally in my notes, they just stopped for a second, and I just wrote, I am so tired. So very, very, very tired.
I feel like it's like you're at the end of a John Carpenter movie.
So thank you, Cody. So Harry ends up losing a finger saving Gainsbourg, which I assume will then be nailed to another door somewhere.
So many lost fingers.
And Harry and the killer wrestle again. Harry lays on top of him. No, I'm sorry. If only that was Harry's move.
Just weighing his immense girth onto people.
It is awesome. The killer points the wire gun he has at Harry, but like I don't know what that's supposed to do because you kind of have to like wrap the wire around someone's neck or something first. And then like pull the trigger to tighten it so it does what it needs to do. So there's just funny shots of him holding it at Harry and then like pulling down the trigger so it's like making whizzing whirling sounds at Harry as they fight.
He's just shooting wires at him that connect to nothing.
So Harry chases him out like onto the ice after Gainsbourg tells him to like go kill him. And also there's, as Harry runs out, there's a shot of the saddest of the evil snowmen so far, like right outside the house. Like this snowman is downright suicidally depressed.
Oh, little Snowy.
I feel bad for the snowman. This is the one Oleg probably made.
This is me when Daddy does not come. Also, before he went after the snowman, did Gainsbourg throw him a block of wood and say, "You know what to do"?
That would have been more interesting than the actual confrontation that proceeds to happen. Because Harry walks out onto a frozen lake, going all like, fucking come at me, bro! But sees no one around him. There's just nothing clearing. There's nowhere to hide. But somehow, Harry still gets shot. And the killer just walks out of nothing. Like, I don't know where he was hiding. He just walks
In the snow.
into frame. I cannot stress enough. There was nowhere for this character to hide. We saw in all directions. Then suddenly Harry is shot from the direction he was just looking in. And then the killer walks towards him from the direction Harry was just looking in. Because I guess he has the power of invisibility now or something.
Is it possible he's composed of snow like a Flip Marco?
You mean like someone who, during his past as a boy, was turned into part snow after falling into a frozen lake?
Exactly! Some kind of snowman!
So during this next part, Harry starts saying like a speech, and I wrote down most of it, because this is interesting. I know why you blame her. You've been wrong. It wasn't your mom who didn't want you, it was your father. It would have been better had you not been born. Which is Harry telling the serial killer and the movie that the serial killer's motivation and how he goes about being a serial killer was in the wrong direction the entire time and flawed terribly. He should have been going after the bastard fathers, not the mothers.
You dummy.
So in the last moment, the movie calls itself stupid.
And then he and the snowman team up to take out deadbeat dads.
To prove how stupid this all is, and how stupid the serial killer is, he approaches Harry and then immediately falls through the ice and dies.
So God takes him out?
We then go to the final scene of the film, where Harry is back at police headquarters, not drunk, and taking on a new murder case that would have led into the next book in the series had this, not been botched so poorly and actually made money. Credits! That's the ending.
Why was the World Cup a factor?
Normally with a murder mystery, like there's some fun going on, like, oh boy, I can't wait to see how they resolve this. No.
It's just funny because movies aren't supposed to be this bad anymore. Like, it's weirdly an event whenever you get something like The Wicker Man these days.
Yeah, when a movie is well funded, you just assume there'll be enough guarantees of quality where it'll be passable, it'll be bland if nothing else,
It's weirdly exciting when a movie comes along that makes no sense.
Yeah, I just assume there's enough people watching these things like through dailies and whatnot where they're like, oh, maybe we should fix this. Like there's so many review points when the script is coming together. You think someone would read that and go, okay, like points B and C never connect. We should do something about that before we film. Or then when they're filming, you have the dailies, so you have an idea like how daily progress is coming together. And then at the end, when editing, you have to see how it all plugs together. You would maybe it's too late for reshoots, but you'd think at that point like, oh shit, we have to do something.
That's why you redub Val Kilmer, Cody.
Quick, let me turn up this radio to explain plot.
God, what's sad is there was one day, like one specific moment, where they looked at footage, looked at each other, and went, fuck.
Well, we're out of the job forever. Goodbye. What do you do at that point? Like, it has to happen to a lot of directors. They're putting something together, they realize it's bad. You have to move forward, but then it's got to be terrible on big budget movies because you actually have to go through the attempt to sell it to people. Like you have to go on Jay Leno and sell it to an audience. You have to show clips from this turd and tell people it's great. You go on radio shows and say it's awesome. And then they ask you like, hey, do you want to do an audio commentary? All the while you have it sitting in the back of your head like, oh, I have made garbage.
You have to be LL Cool J and promote Rollerball.
The weird thing is, I bet some people probably don't even realize it. They just make a bad movie and then they go, oh, this is great. And then they're surprised when everyone else in the world thinks like, no, you're an idiot. This is real bad.
So I have an addendum.
Oh, is there a post-credit tag?
Mercifully, no. So after rewatching the movie in preparation for this over the course of 6 hours, I decided after it ended to go on the wiki page for this film. Within that page, I discovered that something I had kind of thought, but I wasn't sure on. I discovered it was in reality true. Kilmer was Ferguson's father, and those were flashbacks.
What?
All those scenes took place in the past, showing, I guess, like what happened to that character. And I've seen this movie twice, and it took a Wikipedia page to explain this to me. Now, I will concede a little bit that maybe I could have paid a little bit more attention, or I could have more easily gleaned this from the movie. There are things the second time I was picking up on, I was like, is that what it's going for? But I kept thinking I was wrong, and the movie was clearly showing something that wasn't flashback. Or if it was a different character, because they don't share a last name or anything. And mostly because, like, user error on my part aside, the fact remains that there is zero fucking indication that we're seeing flashbacks. And the way they come in, and the way, by the time the parts where it's revealed that Rafto and Ferguson's character are related comes so far after that, you'd have to mentally go back and go, oh, those were flashbacks. Like, so when Harry's asking about Rafto, just Kilmer's character, I honestly figured that was a different character than her father, and they were just on the same police department or something in the past, because those scenes, they always seem like they were taking place concurrently. What I'm saying is, fuck this movie.
Did Toby Jones just not age? Like, the only thing that changed is he lost a balloon and stopped smiling?
I'm also pretty sure they didn't film 70% of Kilmer's scenes, which is why they end so abruptly. And a producer, because you can just remove those, especially if they're flashbacks. They don't need to be in the movie at all. They serve no fucking purpose. I'm just going to assume a producer really fucking wanted Kilmer in there.
Mike, not to trouble you further, but does this movie have any audio commentaries?
I believe the director has disowned it.
That'd be even funnier if there was.
By Kilmer, but it's dubbed.
I'm gonna look into this quick. Excuse my typing. Going to Amazon, looking up the Snowman.
When I rented it, I think it was a rental copy, so I didn't get special features. So,
well, let's see. The Snowman. In case anyone wants it real bad, currently you can buy a Blu-ray copy of it on Amazon for $13, which
steep,
a little steep. Oh, fun. Here's the tagline. Soon the first snow will fall and the hunt for a killer begins. And there's a picture of Michael Fassbender standing in the snow looking very confused. He's also holding a gun. Anyways, let's oh, nice. They have a little cast section here. Oh, it's not even the cast. They're the actors. Apparently Val Kilmer's character's name was Gert Rafto.
Correctamundo.
Gert T. Moving on. Oh, and there's a little facts section. Harry Hole is to Oslo what Sherlock Holmes is to London. That's very sad. And likewise has spawned a mini industry and can even book a Harry Hole tour.
Okay.
Do not go on the Harry Hole tour. Cody, I know you're reaching for your credit card, but contain yourself.
It's not what you think. I just want to be fair for a second. The character and those books are incredibly fucking popular. They're award-winning. They're bestsellers. This is the only adaptation of it. It was completely botched. Everyone who's read the book said the movie has gone completely off book incredibly, and really has absolutely nothing to do with the book whatsoever. So, do not let this Tales from the BOP persuade you away from enjoying a good Nesbo book. They're apparently, fantastic and deserve much better than this.
Box Office Pulp recommends not watching The Snowman, but instead reading The Snowman.
One last fun little tidbit here. Director Thomas Alfredson was adamant from the start that the film be shot in Norway for authenticity, which, considering apparently the amount filmed in London, maybe is a bit of a womp womp kind of situation, but
it's also English words everywhere.
And unfortunately, the Blu-ray has limited special features, including a digital copy of The Snowman, a featurette called Cast of Characters, creating Joe Nesbo's world, The Snowman Killer, Norwegian Landscape, and Stunt Files, The Sinking Lake.
Wow.
We can finally go deeper into this story. Also, all I can imagine is one of us looking closely in the background of one of the scenes, and Benedict Cumberbatch and Toby Jones are shooting their scene from the last season of Sherlock. It's like, well, since we just have them around.
Here's a fun little anecdote. Joe Nesbo, who is the author of the book series, filmed a cameo for The Snowman. That scene was cut out.
Oh.
So they
Scenes cut out of this movie?
A lot. If you look at the trailer, there's like some explosions and some other shit that's not in the final film. Because they had, I mean, literally the director went in there to try to make a movie out of half of a screenplay that got filmed.
And unfortunately, out of that half, 90% of it was Val Kilmer flashbacks.
All 3 scenes. That turns out were flashbacks. I learned something during this little excursion.
Yeah.
The movie somehow makes less sense for it, so that's good. Every time something's explained to me that I, quote-unquote, missed from the film, I walk away more confused.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle where every time you slap a piece down, all the other pieces move farther apart from each other.
Well, it's like the waters of Tartarus.
Well, I think we should have known what we were in for when we looked at the Amazon reviews. Chris69 probably said it best with his review titled, Not Frosty! And I think that does it right there. Like, that's all we need to know. It wasn't frosty enough.
You said it all, man.
A guy with 69 in his name didn't like Hole.
Although it's very surprising because his review says, takes so long to get to the meat of the story and too much personal travel. 4 out of 5 stars.
The personal travel is what got him.
That's it. Too much personal travel. 4 out of 5 stars. That knocked it down from a perfect entry. I think he fucked up and accidentally put too many stars on this thing.
Oh, great. Now it's going to get a sequel.
I'm curious. Oh, that's neat. You can actually follow people on Amazon and stalk through their review history.
Let's not go down this hole.
Oh, it's too late. I'm already in it. So his review for Mom and Dad is 5 stars. It just says, calm down, Nick and Selma.
Okay.
5 stars for Bruce Willis's Death Wish. Careful who you mess with. Not the usual Bruce Willis movie. Good story, slow story, but worth the wait to watch. I'm sorry, I just got thrown off by that because there's no punctuation in any of these reviews. It just says good story, slow story.
Is this our new It Came from IMDb?
I don't want to pick on this guy. I'm having a fun time reading through these reviews.
So what, are you going to stop now?
He's literally put everything at 5 stars except for the Snowman. That's the one thing he has not reviewed with 5 stars. He's like super happy with all of his purchases except for the Snowman. That's the one thing where he's like, I can't give it 5 stars. This is the one deal.
Wow, that's the real tragedy. The Snowman broke this dude's spirit.
Sorry, Chris69. I collect skulls and have several of this one? What the fuck? I just stumbled onto a part of his review history where he's like reviewing multiple skulls. I'm out.
Cody, is this you?
No, I don't have an Amazon review section.
Oh god, did we find the Snowman, guys?
I'm done. I'm out.
Have we stumbled onto a serial killer?
I'm not losing any fingers.
How will I ward off the Santa Claus?
I'm out of here before we lose anything else. This has been Box Office Pulp warning you about snowmen and mysterious Amazon reviews. Make sure you wear gloves so it's hard to chop your fingers off when the time comes, people. I don't think there's a graceful way to exit out of that.
Wait. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me pull this back up on my phone. Mr. Police, you could have saved her. I give you all the clues. Signed, Ole the Snowman. Send to Papa. Big circle, little circle, little bitty circle for the eye, little bitty circle for the other eye. And now we make the frowny face. Dot, 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 dot. And then a little extra dot underneath the dot to make it kind of like an upside down smiley face, kind of. Then we draw a line for the arm, then line for the other arm, and then 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger, 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger, and little circle for the top button, little circle for the middle button, little circle for the bottom button, and then we put in a little mailbox for scale.
Oleg, I'm gonna be honest, I'm one thing proud of the fact you spelled everything correctly, but it's a fucked up robot you drew.
And like that, he's gone.
Well, thank God that's over.
If you enjoyed this more than I enjoyed the Snowman, and I hope so, then you can please subscribe and rate us on iTunes and Stitcher. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/boxofficepulp podcast. We are on Twitter at boxofficepulp, and our website is boxofficepulp.blogspot.com.
Look out, Mike, it's a snowman.
Oh, my fingers!
Oh, it's melting around me. That's inconvenient.
Oh, that's a horrifying way to kill somebody. You tie them up and then put a snowman on top of them so it drowns them.
Oh, I was thinking you were just throwing a snowman at me, but it was hot out, so by the time it got to me, it melted and just splashed me.
Is that a Rick? That just sounds like a Rick and Morty joke. No!
But seriously, subscribe to us on iTunes. Good night, everybody.
I didn't know
That's
this
a
was
wrap.
still
Get
going.
the hell out of here.
This is Box Office Pulp Guy, and this has been a Pulp Podcast production. Now please, 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 put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger and say goodnight.
And now, on with the show.
This meeting will come to order. The Legion of Pulp is now in session. In a moment, iTunes... Yes, Quizmotron.
I was wondering, Emperor Palpatine, if I could perhaps...
Box Office Pulp thinks we need a few items to pawn on the black market.
Box Office Pulp Guy, you have a podcast dedicated to movie analysis. Pinhead, your pleasure puzzles are deadly. Isaac, you've got corn.
Gone?
What more do you need?
How about a nuclear warhead?
What?
All other supervillains have them. With a nuclear warhead, I shall leave all other podcasts to tear themselves apart with paranoia.
Box Office Pulp wants a magic lasso to hang himself with.
Can I get a ship in a bottle kit
I demand more corn.
to make my own ship in a bottle?
Oh, enough of this. The hell do I look like, Santa Claus? We're wasting valuable time. Right now, my Pulp Patrons are rewriting Apple's code to make our podcast #1 on iTunes.
Excuse me, Emperor.
Quizmotron, what is it?
All Quizmotron wants is pants. A decent pair of pants.
Darth Vader wants pants too.
Order!
Glory to the corn.
Game is not supposed to be this complicated.
Tune in next week at PulpPodcastNetwork.wordpress.com.
I don't even know how I deal with any of you on a daily basis.